Hi English teachers, this is Brittany Tempe with a quick presentation of some resources available to you through Bentonville Public Library and to your students through their tech cards. If you aren't using your tech cards yet, I can't encourage you enough to do so, and Mary Jo is a really wonderful resource for that. She also has a tutorial video on getting started with tech cards. So please consult her if you aren't using your tech cards. And if you are, today I have a few quick favorites to show you, but there's also a spreadsheet that I put together of all the resources that I think could be used in the English Language Arts classroom. So if you want more detail or a wider range of resources, check out that spreadsheet. But today I'll show you a few favorites and how I would encourage students to use them or how I'd use them as a teacher. If you're teaching research, here are some options for you. Culturegrams is wonderful for anything to do with geography, countries, of course culture. FactSite is a encyclopedia written on a lower level, so it might be great if you have struggling readers in your classroom or English language learners. And then WorldBook Advanced is just a general encyclopedia. Today I want to highlight eLibrary through ProQuest. It's a pretty user-friendly way to conduct research. You can see as trending topics, editor's picks. It gives students a place to start if they really aren't sure where to go with research. And because you all are English teachers, I'll show you there's an English Language Arts section. And say you're interested in William Shakespeare. A student's doing some Shakespeare research. You get an overview. It's some really beautiful gallery images that you can analyze in class for many of these works or issues. Sometimes it's an editorial cartoon. Here we have some classic works of art. You're also connected with lots of other resources to do with the topic or the person. And literary criticism if you're looking into a literary work. One of the beautiful things about the ProQuest suite and some of the other databases available through Bentonville Public Library is that it allows students to save their research to Google Drive. So they could have a Google Drive folder for your assignment, put everything there as they research, and then go back through as they write and have everything available to them in PDF form that they could take notes on as well. You could send these resources directly to Google Classroom, which would be nice. Or you could use OneDrive if you use that. Students also have the option to cite resources on almost all of these databases. Some of them will allow students to export the citation to EasyBib. Others, it's just a copy function so they could paste the citation into their own document. So that's an overview with eLibrary. As a teacher, I'd be especially interested in these gallery images and the ability to save to Google Drive. Just emphasize that to your students. If you are teaching argument skills, these two websites are really wonderful. I think these are my favorites of the whole presentation. Here I'll show you another ProQuest database. And it does require students to log in. And when they do, they get images and lists of controversial or debatable topics. They also get recently added news articles that would apply to some of these issues. And once again, this is pretty user-friendly because it gives students a place to start if they really don't know what they'd like to research. Kind of some options for exploring outside of just a general Google search. So if we clicked Civil Rights and Liberties and we took a look at banned books, each issue or controversy has an editorial cartoon connected to it. It has some critical thinking questions that you might want to use as a teacher to spark some discussion. It has a timeline for the entire issue. It goes over two major viewpoints. for the issue. And we all know there are more than 2 viewpoints, so this may be a great conversation starter for talking about qualifying an issue or more than the 2 major viewpoints. And then it connects students with lots and lots of resources out there, from newspapers to magazines to primary sources, and they can narrow their search over here, or they can look at resources by Lexile or by date. Once again, articles here can be saved to Google Drive, and this research guide for the critical thinker is worth looking at. It walks students through choosing a topic all the way through constructing a paper. It isn't perfect, but it may be something that you want to use or modify in your classroom. If you're studying an author or a literary work in your classroom, I already showed you the English Language Arts tab in eLibrary. You also have Lion through ProQuest, and today I'll give you a quick overview of Bloom's. Bloom's Literary Reference allows students to browse by author, character, or work. There are discussion questions attached to each work, and then one of my favorite things about this database is the sheer amount of literary classics and poems that you have in full text available to you as library users. Take a look at that. See what you could use in your classroom, especially since every student has a Chromebook. You can also look at literary movements, and you can browse by literary theme, which I think is a really neat option. So if we search for 1984, you can see we have almost 3,000 results related to 1984. Bloom's is wonderful for literary criticism. If you'd like your students to read or write literary criticism, great place to come. Related images. You have videos and video clips from many of the major works, including sometimes poets reading their poems, and you have timelines. And all of these pieces can be saved, again, to Google Drive so that your students can track their research. You have some curriculum tools for teachers that are worth exploring. And then as a bonus, if you teach a course where you encourage students to be familiar with current events, you have U.S. News Stream through ProQuest. And it's just a collection of tons and tons of U.S. newspaper or news sources for students. Then these are not BPL resources, but they are ways to explore current events in your classroom with students. You have PBS NewsHour. I know a lot of you use News ELA or Student News Daily or the New York Times Learning Network. Just some other bonus ways to look at current events in the classroom. So that's a basic overview of just a few of the resources available to you and your students through the tech cards at Bentonville Public Library. I hope this has inspired you just to take a look, see what you could use in your classroom, and get started even next week with some of these. They're really user-friendly and easy to learn as you go. Thank you for listening. Good luck. Let me know if you have questions. I'd love to hear from you.